Let's bring in our political panel. Matt Schlapp is chairman of the American Conservative Union and a former White House political director. Capri Cafaro is executive in residence at American University School of Public Affairs. Good morning to both of you. Capri, I'll start with you first because Kevin McCarthy made the case in that news conference this morning talking to reporters that Pelosi has gained nothing by waiting to hand over those articles of impeachment. Your thoughts?
I think it was a real gamble on behalf of Speaker Pelosi, and I think it's been widely reported that there have been Democrats within her own conference that, have been getting a little bit antsy, saying we need to get this done, both on the House side as well as on the Senate side. And, I know a few days ago, Speaker Pelosi had a press conference where she tried to outline some of the things that she believes she gained by holding back that transmittal of the articles of impeachment, including some additional information coming out for emails that had recently been discovered and that sort of thing. But ultimately, from a political standpoint, it has been risky. And now what we're seeing is, Democrats being put in a situation where it looks like they're pretty solely politically motivated, which is not a place we want to be coming into the 2020 election cycle.
All right, well, we await the vote happening tomorrow. We learned that just a short time ago. But when it comes to holding on to those articles of impeachment, some Democrats have made the case that has actually worked in favor of Democrats and Nancy Pelosi. Hakeem Jeffries went on another network this morning, Matt, making the case that now because we've got these 4 GOP senators are showing willingness to call witnesses, that proves that Nancy Pelosi was right to do that. Here's Hakeem Jeffries.
Mitt Romney, but also Susan Collins and Lisa Murkowski publicly indicate that they want to see a fair trial. That's progress that hadn't necessarily taken place. And had we immediately sent over the articles, then Mitch McConnell may have attempted to simply dismiss the case that was sent over, as the president is urging his friends in the Senate to do.
To that, Matt, you say what?
Yeah. Good luck there, Mr. Congressman. The fact is Nancy Pelosi couldn't even hold her own caucus together on the vote on impeachment. There were several Democrats who walked away from that vote. And the other fact is that there are Senate Democrats like Dianne Feinstein who have publicly criticized Nancy Pelosi, who's from her own state of California, on playing politics with transmitting these impeachment findings. And finally, Mitt Romney is not a problem child because of what Nancy Pelosi decided to do on impeachment. He's just a problem child. And as far as Collins and Murkowski are concerned, they have been very weak supporters of the president as well, although I still give Susan Collins great credit for her vote on Brett Kavanaugh. At the end of the day, the president is going to be deemed to be not guilty with a vote in the Senate. And all the politics around this are going to stick on Nancy Pelosi because she decided to play politics, and it's going to be a big problem for her when her marginal House members are on the ballot in November.
I guess you've revealed to us, Matt, that you would not support more witnesses being called in this process.
I would. No, Sandra, I would. Here, I'm with Ted Cruz on this. I actually think what we ought to do is hear the prosecution's case. I think it's a weak case. I think when lawyers have bad facts and weak cases, let them talk. Give them all the time they want. The American people have pretty much already come to a judgment. This will allow others to come to this judgment that there's nothing here. This is a crimeless impeachment. But I also think that that eventually, within short order, Republicans should just move to have a vote on whether or not the president is guilty or not guilty. But if we have a longer trial, that will accrue to the president's benefit because it allows Rand Paul and others to demand that Hunter Biden and others who have been associated with this Ukraine wrongdoing, that the American people finally get to hear from people like the whistleblower.
You're going to end up with a tit for tat no matter what here, but I think that the American public want as much transparency as possible. John Bolton has indicated his willingness to testify if subpoenaed. It's shown that, a vast majority of Americans do want to see John Bolton testify. And so, look, if the president is innocent, get all these people that have firsthand knowledge out there. And certainly folks like yourself are going to say, great, well, if Hunter Biden's innocent,
I do want to push back on this.
Okay.
I agree mostly with you on the fact that let's go ahead and let the American people see everything. But it is ridiculous for House Democrats, Nancy Pelosi and Adam Schiff, who never forced a subpoena on John Bolton never went to court. Out of nowhere, they want witnesses that they themselves did not have the guts to call into the House system
and that
to
is
now
be
demand that
in
Republicans in the Senate invite them. That is the height of hypocrisy.
Hold on.
That's the politics.
But in a way, you both sort of agreed on that point when it comes to calling the witnesses, seeing as much evidence as possible. That goes back to the point that Jeanne Shaheen made in that soundbite at the top of the hour there. And then to Ted Cruz in his own words, Matt, because you seem to be backing up what he said on this program, top of the 9 o'clock hour this morning. Here's Ted Cruz.
If we call witnesses, it needs to be fair, it needs to be even-handed, it needs to respect due process. That means if the prosecution gets to call a witness, the defense should as well. If the prosecution gets to call John Bolton, then the president should be able to call Hunter Biden. It ought to be fair and even and respect due process.
So what ultimately does that lead to, Capri? Because you know the Democrats want John Bolton, but Republicans are going to say,
hey, what's good for the goose is good for the gander. What's good for the goose is good for the gander. And you know, you're going to see pushback from Democrats about Hunter Biden the same way you're seeing pushback from some Republicans on some of these other prosecution witnesses. But at the end of the day, this should not be about politics. If this is a real legal process, which is a little bit different than a court of law, yes, because
it's
of
a political process.
Because of the way that things are structured surrounding impeachment. I agree with that, but you know what? You need to have a fair process. The American public deserves facts. They deserve this to not be political if we really want to be comfortable with the verdict.
One quick thing. I'd love to be the subpoena server to Hunter Biden, because I don't think many people know where the heck he is.
Oh, he's been seen out and about. He's not been in hiding by any stretch.
I want to see this subpoena get put in his hands. I think it'd be very interesting.
Let's end with this note from Senator John Cornyn. He joined us just a few moments ago on this program. Here's the senator.
It just seems ironic that Speaker Pelosi now, I think, has sat on the articles of impeachment for 28 days, and she wants to wait one more day in deference to the Democratic presidential debate. She knows that this looks really bad because after saying it was a compelling and urgent constitutional matter, sitting on it for almost a month, I think undermines her most basic argument.
And then once it gets going, how long it takes from there. Final thoughts from both of you, Matt and then Capri.
Yeah, I do think throughout this whole process, Sandra, I was a Republican House staffer when the impeachment process went against Bill Clinton. And the perception of a majority of Americans is the Republicans were playing politics with impeachment, even though there were serious crimes that Bill Clinton committed. If it looks like the Democrats are playing politics, I think the political consequences for them are really bad. And it just increases Donald Trump's chances at re-election.
Capri?
Yep, this is one of the reasons why I think Republicans in the Senate have decided against dismissal, because I think that they would run the same risk as Democrats have as far as looking political, because they're saying we don't want to see the process play out. I think that they're trying to make the best political move for themselves by not just having a straight out dismissal. The Clinton process took 5 weeks. This is going to go directly into the primary and caucus season, which is not good for anybody. Let's hope that this is a fair process for the American people.
And all begins with that vote to send over those articles of impeachment, which Nancy Pelosi said this morning would happen tomorrow. Matt and Capri, thank you.
Thank you.